Hello, hello. You're listening to another episode of It Needs to Be Said. Two sisters who like to keep it real. We might make you laugh. Hopefully we make you think.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back, guys. We're glad to be back. I've escaped my family and I feel very happy about it. And you?
Oh, that's good. I've got one baby fast asleep, one toddler that's refusing. And gosh, she's in that stage of life where she refuses to nap. And when she doesn't nap, it is catastrophic to the day. Like, gosh, it's so bad. But sometimes when she takes a while to go down, then I think that's okay because that just gives me longer on the other end.
Yeah, if they end up falling asleep,
Yes.
it's golden. It's like you may be in your bed for 5 hours.
We do love our children, everyone. We do. But it's true. It's true.
Okay, well, what are we talking about today, Lomal?
Yes. Okay. So today we are talking about, well, let me give you the episode title. The episode title is Contentment in a World That Always Wants More.
Victored.
I
Aren't you
know.
already? We've
I
not even
know.
discussed this and I'm like, whatever. I feel bad already. Thanks.
I need this in my life. Though, I need
Yeah.
this conviction drastically.
Yeah, this episode is coming from absolute necessity in ourselves.
Yes.
We need this. Well, I'm rebuked already. It's been 2 seconds. We need this. That's why we're doing it. There's no other reason.
So we're going to get into that, but before we do, let's start off a little bit lighthearted, so we actually have a bit of a good laugh before we cry. What have you been thinking about?
I've been thinking about. Sorry, I just have to tell you guys this. I have been creating a play area in my house under my stairs. We have a little.
You have told us this already, by the way.
On the podcast, the mouse house. Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Okay, guys, sorry. The mouse house is being executed as we speak.
My goodness!
I'm late to recording this episode because I've literally just built the mouse house with Niels. And can I just say, for anyone who's building anything or putting wallpaper on the walls while you've got 3 kids around, it is just a feat, okay? Because they want to help. They come and lick you. It's just gosh, it's just too much. But we've put up the wallpaper. Stunning. The wallpaper is so nice. And then we've just opened the mouse house and there's mice in there and there's metal furniture. And the one that I ended up buying was actually quite a bit cheaper, but it came with a lot of the stuff together that I was like, no, I think this is good. And it's come and it is magnificent. I cannot believe, I think they need to double the price for this thing. That's what I'm going to send in the review to say, charge more because it's so pretty. And already I've just sat in that little nook with the wallpaper and I've just thought, this is where I'll be happy in this little house.
Look, I'm wondering if a mouse house is an American thing because I truly don't really know what you're talking about.
I don't know if it is an American thing. I just wanted to make it. And so I don't know if it's a thing. I just wanted to make a little nook to play in. And I didn't want to do a classic dollhouse because we've gotten a dollhouse before and the kids just haven't loved it. But then I said to my son, what if we make a little mouse house in here?
Okay, so you came up with this concept.
I think so. Maybe I copyright it quickly, but my idea is for the people that care. No one might care, but on the outside, I've got a letterbox on the wall. I'm going to put a little picket fence up. It's going to be called Boshua Burrow or the Burrow at the top. And Niels is going to make a little door that opens. Think of a little picket fence door or whatever. And then you walk in. There's a dollhouse mounted to the wall with mice that you play with, and then. Stunning flower wallpaper because the mice are so small. The flowers look massive. Cute as. Then think of 2 little mounted bookshelves on the wall where there's all books and then a little bean bags in the corner. They can go there for a little read. A little read and a lay.
A little lay down because they're so cute with their little mouse.
It is. So I've just made it up. And then the reason why I asked you for a photo of your girls is I bought mini photo frames for the mice.
Stop it.
Because they obviously need artwork on their wall. And so
Are you going to put my kid's face on a mouse body?
No, come on. No, I think I have to. Well, I was
because
just
they're all a family of mice.
Now, so that's a spanner. I haven't thought about that.
Or are the mice the mice where the mice's family? You know what I mean?
Yes, the mice live. Yes, love it.
It's like Mousetrap the movie.
These mice.
Yeah, you need a little
bathtub
down this house. Yeah, but burn down the house, get in the bathtub, slip onto the frozen lake.
The cutest thing in this mouse house is there's a little lamp that has a beautiful, think chantilly lace over the lamp, and you can turn it on. And I just think that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I could actually cry about it.
Sometimes I think the things that our kids have, I think you have no idea how lucky you are because when I was little, I was forced to play with like literally a rose bush and dirt, and I had to just like make a little game.
We literally put a rinoceros horn on our nose with a rose bush thorn, and we were like, "This is sick."
Great game. I love this toy. It's so true. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, I think that the listeners deserve a picture of the mouse house, and so do I, because I want to see it.
Okay, guys, I'll do a little show and tell. So that's all I've been thinking about, is just like this little dream of mine to come true. And I wouldn't say I'm the most like creative with even creating things like this. Well, I'm just not artistically creative. But this has been such a fun project, and I've watched my husband. I've watched the joy drain out of his eyes when he just loses interest, and I'm like, no, you don't get to, because you're going to put the wallpaper on this wall.
And he's the creative one, so he needs to carry.
100%. 100%. Anyway, that's what I've been thinking about. What have you been thinking about?
I love that. Gosh, what have I been thinking about?
Do you ever rebuke me? Surely.
Oh, you know what? I really do, and I just don't think I can handle that right now.
Gosh.
I've had some thoughts. What have I been thinking? Sorry, get there. Really want to give you something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can't. I have nothing to give right now. Sorry.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm
that's
so mentally drained.
I don't have a rebuke me or anything, but let me think.
I did start a note ages ago, podcast thoughts.
What have we talked about in our polo this week?
Yeah.
Did I already tell them I moved on from Sound of Music to Greece? That's the last thing. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you guys a little fun story today while we're here and waiting for Salomi. But today, my son came home from school, and sometimes he comes home and he's got new sayings like 6, 7, whatever that is. But today he came home singing a song.
Yeah.
And I don't like the infiltration of the world into my son's mind. I don't want him to learn about the world too much. But today he came home singing a song, and I just thought, this is a new level unlocked. And I could not be more proud of you. I could not be more proud. And this is what I heard him humming. And I thought, I know that tune. And then he started singing, "Who let the dogs out? Who?
That's still going?
I don't know. That's still going.
Must be.
And then by the time we got home, all 3 of my kids were singing "Who Let the Dogs Out." And I just thought, this is a classic. We've entered a fun stage. This is great.
It's a rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it actually, I was listening to the song thinking, is this inappropriate? But I think it's so literal that it's not inappropriate.
Who did let the dogs out?
Because it's like,
who?
Let them fluffy.
Oh, yeah.
Where you flea infested mongrel. Like, it's so literal that I think it's clean.
That made me uncomfortable.
Mongrel.
Okay, I love it. All right, should we get into the episode? My baby's just woken up, but she should go back down. So, look, I've brought this forward as something to talk about with Eliza, because this has come up here and there in our polo conversations. And I mean, gosh, we could talk about the mother load and the sacrifice and this. Truth be told, that is a bit of what I've been thinking about, because I've got a friend, she's a listener of the pod, and she's, thinking about entering into the family era.
Right. Got it.
And she had spoken about, I just find it so interesting how I feel like I'm already giving up so much, and I'm not pregnant yet. Like, there's so much I'm thinking about, so much I'm doing. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to you. Anyways, and she was like, yeah, like, I've just been thinking about the sacrifices women make. And I unloaded probably too
Poor
much.
girl. She didn't need that.
She didn't need it. But it wasn't all negative. It was just like, women are superheroes because of what we do, and I respect everyone so much because of it. But anyways, as you and I have also been speaking a bit about that, I think it was you actually that said at one point, at what point do we, instead of thinking about this, do we start thinking about how to be content in this? And I was like, gosh, like, it's true. Because
I know.
all of those other things are going to be unrelenting. And obviously with contentment, we can talk about a lot of different things, but primarily I wanted to talk about it not in terms of possessions and money, but what we're experiencing, like the life stage we're in. Yeah. But we're going to open that up to, obviously relate to a lot of different areas. But yeah, what comes to mind, reflex response, when I say we're going to talk about contentment? Dang it.
I just think, well, crap. I think what comes up for me is like truly contentment in a season, not necessarily, and maybe this is just the stage of life that we're at, but it's also maybe just some things that I don't struggle with that much necessarily. Like, I think contentment in a season that is particularly difficult, which can be motherhood, but it can also be like suffering or waiting or longing for something or being in a season of grief. Like, that's what I think, like contentment in a season. And I think I think of work. I think of effort and work and like it being a bit unyielding in terms of like pursuing contentment. That's what I think.
Yeah. Almost like an endurance component.
Yeah. Like I don't know if anyone just wakes up being like
I'm
content.
content.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
content. This is great. Except for people that have been through long seasons where God's given, God's taken away. Like those people, I'm like, oh, you've learned contentment.
Mm. And I don't think contentment, or I could be wrong about this, but I don't think if you're cruising on in life and there's no struggle, I don't think that contentment is even on your radar.
Mhm.
Because I don't think you practice contentment unless there's something to not be content about, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, sure. I see what you mean. As in, like, there's something that you're longing for or wanting or hoping for. That's when you practice contentment.
Mm.
Whereas if you've got all the resource, all the access, you just
Yeah.
go and get whatever you want.
Well,
Is
I
that what you
say
mean?
that, but yeah, that is what I initially meant, and I'm going to rebuke myself because
That sounds bad. I take it back.
no, because I do mean that. Like, I mean that I think I think the issue of contentment is always pulling you towards not feeling content, obviously,
Mm.
but and then in certain seasons, there's more of a reason to feel like that. But I think the trap is thinking that it's seasonal and oh, that's because it's only a struggle when there's something to not be content over. But I
Sure.
think the trap is that actually, if you're not practicing contentment, you're never going to be content because there's always going to be something else that you cannot be content over.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I don't feel good about it, to be honest. To be honest. Okay, so do you think? Okay, question back to you then. Do you think
Mm.
that like cultivating contentment? Do you think anyone just has contentment? Let's say they have ample. Like we're not talking about people that are going without or making big sacrifices, but they don't have to go without. Do you think they can be content, or do you think you have to like cultivate contentment?
I believe it's something to cultivate. I do.
Mm. Hmm. I think it has to be surely. Like I think it's that difficult that I just think who is just born with that?
The thing is, if this wasn't an issue, then why is there celebrities and
Yeah.
people, billionaires who have addiction and have all these issues of wanting more and greed?
Mm.
Because though the issue of contentment isn't solved with getting the thing.
Yeah.
It's not solved by outward experiences.
Maybe then I think that contentment will always shapeshift unless cultivated.
Yes.
As in like, okay, you may be struggling with contentment for like a very valid reason, like, I don't know, infertility or I don't know, like not being able to make strides financially or whatever. But I think even if you get those big things, you get the baby, you get the house, you get the job, whatever, I think it'll shapeshift into like a lack of contentment with maybe more trivial things like a dissatisfaction with your hair or the wrinkles that are coming or your clothes or I don't know, the car that you're driving. Like I think it'll shapeshift unless deep contentment has been cultivated
1000%. I agree.
repeatedly. Because I feel like this is something that like I'll deal with and then it'll pop up and you're like, what the heck? And then you
Yeah.
have to redeal with it and redeal with it because it's like a complete mindset shift.
Yeah, I think so. And I think when it pops up and you're like, "Oh, I'm not content." Typically, I think that that's thought about or reflected on in those big moments of
Mm,
discontentment where
sure.
it's like relationship or finance or fertility or whatever, then it's like, "Oh, this is something to wrestle with God." But actually, in the meantime, you've been not practicing contentment in how you look, in your body, in your relationship, in your husband, like all the things. So it's been this like little thing that's festering. And now there's this big opportunity that I think is a spiritual opportunity from the devil for you to, either practice contentment or not. And you haven't been exercising that. So now suddenly it's this big issue and you're really
Mm,
struggling. But meanwhile, we're
yeah.
all okay to not be content with all those little things because that's the culture we live in.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Well, I mean, I haven't read through the spreadsheet, but I do want to talk about where is the line with contentment and then also like being a practical person. Like
Uh,
I don't think contentment means like dissatisfaction or just throwing in the towel and not doing the hard work when you need to do hard work. Like I don't think those things cancel each other out. Are we going to talk about that?
I don't know that that's in the spreadsheet. So let's
Okay.
just do it.
Let's remember it at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think like for me, when I think about contentment, I think about, I could be wrong about this, you tell me. I believe you can have goals and ambitions and drive for things to be different and
Mhm.
still be content with where you are
Yeah.
and not be unhappy with what you're in now just because you're looking to the future. I think you can want things to be different and still be present, thankful, and have gratitude for where you are now and not just wish it all away and just be bitter about it.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, good.
What do you
Good.
think?
I think that was great. I don't want to say anything else. I'm so scared I'm gonna say anything and then I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, convicted, great. I've got more work to do." But I agree with you. I think that you could be content and, like, satisfied and still be striving for something to
Yes.
be different. And I think that's, like, from the believer's perspective, I think, like, isn't that just the pursuit of holiness to some degree? Like, we we know that we're sinful, we know that Jesus has saved us, we're washed white as snow, and yet we still pursue perfection and holiness and being more and more and more sanctified. Like, we still strive
Mm.
for that. We still are content in where we're at and what the Lord's given us, but we're still striving. Because I think that, um you can be content with very little or content with a circumstance and still be working hard to change that circumstance when there is things that you can do to change that circumstance. But there are caveats there because I don't
Yeah,
think
there
that
is.
yeah, I don't think you can just strive for everything and like take things into your own hands because I think that's sinful or that's control, isn't it? But
Mm.
I just mean, I mean, you are a good example. I literally sent you this verse this week. I need to look it up. But
Little
in
ant.
the little ant, I sent Slummy a text this week, and I'm like, "I'm so proud of you, little ant," because in Proverbs, I have to get up the verse quickly. Where does it say? Proverbs, little ant. I don't even think it says little ant, but, um,
I guess they are little.
yeah, yeah.
It's inferred.
Okay, here we go. 6 to 11. Proverbs. Sorry, just pause here. Proverbs 6 NIV. Okay, it's like, so we're in Proverbs 6, which is all about folly. And I was reading this and I thought of Salomi, where it says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." And so this is like a rebuke against like sloth. It's like a rebuke against being lazy and
Mm.
I think unmotivated and not having a drive. And yet here it says like, "Hey, look at the ant. Like no one's telling him what to do, no one's commanding him, and yet he goes and he stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest." And I said to Salome that she's such a good little ant because you have really strived, like very, very diligently and with like sweat and tears to make sure that you're providing for your family, setting things up for the future of your family and for the future of yourself. Like you've been doing that just faithfully, diligently. And I do think you've been content while doing that, but you've not been content and resigned. That's the word I'm looking for. Like, I don't think you have to be resigned to a circumstance or an experience. I think that you can use wisdom and hard work so that you can be content in the next season and the next season, like
Mm.
storing up provisions for winter. I feel like that seems wise. Does that make sense? Was that the
So
right
true because
context?
yeah, no, I know it. I mean, it's so nuanced because then you do meet people who aren't content. You know, they're a struggler, they're a complainer, but
Sure.
are doing zero to
Mhm.
be not in that situation. And then you're like, well, a bit of striving might do you good. You know, like
Consider the little ant, I think.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it is all. We could give so many caveats, and I'm just hoping that the listeners are smart enough to know what we're talking about and not
Yeah.
take one thing and run with it and go, no, no, but what about this? What about
Yeah.
this? Like, I
Yeah.
think you guys know what we're talking about.
And if
We're
you don't
talking about,
know, we can't help you.
yeah, it's not my problem. Go and do your own Bible study. But
Yeah.
I think there is something that happens internally where you know if you're not in contentment or not. I think you
Mm.
just know. And it might your actions look the same on the outside, maybe to the outside world, I would think that probably under your roof within your marriage, your relationship,
Mm.
probably someone is copying you not being content.
Mhm.
Because I do think it impacts the people around you. I
Yeah,
think it really does. And
for
I think
sure.
we all have tells as to whether or not we're feeling content or not.
What's your tell?
Like honestly, like I don't really feel it with like finance and like that's what I haven't felt it with the little ant stuff, to be honest. I
Mm.
have felt really content in all that. But I feel it with just not enjoying the day because of how difficult kids can be.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And sort of putting my focus elsewhere because like being here is a little bit challenging. So I'll be
Mhm.
like a bit removed and
Mhm.
distracted and looking for enjoyment in other things. And I guess when I'm not present, I'm not being content. When I feel
Okay.
content,
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm mindful.
Mhm.
Enjoying the moments with my family.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That makes
What
sense.
about you?
Yeah, I think I have 2. Like, I think mine is similar in that if I'm not content in my day, like just the day to day, it probably looks maybe not similar to that in terms of like being a little bit disconnected, but I'll be a little bit more intolerant of things getting in the way of what I think will give me contentment. Like, even if I'm setting up the day in a way that I'll be able to sit while the kids play and spend time with the Lord, like, it's something wholesome, it's something good, right? To sit there and watch my little flock play while I get to spend time with the Lord. But if things are getting in the way of me doing that, I get intolerant because I'm like, but this is what I need to like enjoy the day. Like I need this 10 minutes, or if it's rest time and my son comes out of his room like 20 times, I can get intolerant of that because I'm like, you know what? Responding to this voice note from Claudette is what I've been like kind of hoping for all day because it's going to give me like some sort of a feel because we're talking about a really interesting conversation or whatever. So
Mm.
I can be intolerant of things getting in the way of what I think will give me contentment.
That's good.
And it's like
Amen.
disguised. It's disguised because it's good things. Like no one would rebuke me from that in the day. Like people would be like, fair
Yeah.
enough, of course. Like you want to support Claudette, you want to read your Bible. Like it sounds good, but it's a lack of contentment in my day being what it is,
Yeah.
you know?
And without Claudette's voice note, that day would have been your day, and that's the life that you're in. And
Exactly.
so, like, these things aren't always going to rescue us from that moment, like
Mhm.
my productivity or whatever the little idol is. That can't rescue you from your day. So, like, if all those things are removed and it's just this every day, then imagine if we were just content with that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. My other one is, like, just noticing other people too much, you know?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
mean, we did the comparison in motherhood spiel, and I think even in that podcast, that episode, I said I don't really compare myself to other mums, like, I think it's just silly, but I do just notice people around me and not necessarily their parenting, but just things about them, just things, and then I, like, have to get off Instagram or whatever because 'cause I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not even connected to this person. I never see this person. They don't live in the same city as I live in, and yet I just am noticing you too much." And I just like, it just breeds this, like, yuck feeling of, like, "Oh, I just want what you have," or even uglier, like, "Why do you have that?" You
Yeah.
know?
But what did you do to deserve that? How did
Yeah.
you get that?
Which is just
Yeah, it's gross.
disgusting. Like, as I say,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Eliza, what is wrong with you?" But it just creeps in, and if you don't address it, it can hang out there for way too long.
So true.
Yeah, that's mine,
And
I
like the
think.
problem is that I mean I said this to you recently, and I'm gonna again rebuke myself because I just said before it's not really about finance and stuff.
Shut
And
up.
recently we had a conversation about this. Not that I'm like in a season of like just wanting more and more and more. That's
Mm.
not even close to the season we're in. But for a while there, you guys know we lived in the bungalow. It was the wet and moldy house.
It was damp. It was damp.
It was damp, and we've just recently moved into our new house built. And this was something we have longed for and worked for so many years. Like we worked so hard. Like we are so proud of the fact that we've done this.
Mhm.
And then we're now living in this house. And it's not that I'm sitting here being like, I want a bigger house. It's not that, but I'm also not really taking a minute to smell the roses and the
Mm.
blessings of now we're in this position,
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
of course, now that we're here, well, now there's a pursuit of, well, something else, like now this year I want a holiday. I want to
Yeah,
work towards a holiday.
sure.
And that is not a bad thing at all. But when have I just stopped to be content with the massive life upgrade we've
Mm,
just had?
mhm. Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And like, sorry, I'm not going to go into coaching a lot, but what's so fascinating about coaching, or something that God's been ministering to me, is that there's been multiple occasions where I'll do a session with someone who's brought an issue forward,
No.
something that they're working on, something that's an issue for them. And
Yeah,
then the next person I coach will have the opposite problem, and that's an issue for them, and they're
right,
trying to work towards that.
right.
Because I'm not judging anyone for that, but it's so interesting how like one woman was talking about she really, really wants a promotion. You know, she really wants to work towards this promotion. It's just what she wants. Then the next person was, I'm now in a leadership role and I'm just really stressed. I don't know if I want it.
Sure,
You know,
sure. Yeah.
it's just, it's just interesting. Like we have a problem, it's solved, and then we don't just sit there and go, oh, well, I guess just reflecting on the testimony that God's
Mm.
just given you, or the breakthrough, or the blessing. And
Yeah.
now we're just on to the next thing to not be content about.
Yeah, we just chase the carrot. Like there's always
Yes.
another carrot that we'll go after, and it's so sad because it's like, well, even if the thing that you just got, like the house, I think that God would say, well, would you be content if the house got taken away? Because that's also what he says. Like in Job, Job says, the Lord gives, the Lord takes away, like the Lord is faithful. So it's like, oh, if the thing that you've got is the thing that God removes or takes away or whatever, it's blown away, would you then even be content? Like not even just content in what God's given you, but in less than what you have now, which is, man, it's not good.
And I think it's really easy to be in a season of like struggling with this and then thinking, oh, God sanctified me because you've received the thing. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, God did such a work in me.
Yes, for
Did he?
sure. For
Or
sure.
did your circumstance change?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
feel like if it was that your circumstance changed, I wonder, did anything change in you?
Okay, great. Here's a great point for like a pause for the listeners. Like think of the last time that you felt discontent, lack of contentment, you were not content. And when did that change for you? And did it change because you got the thing that you were striving for? And it's okay if that is. Like obviously, like there's obviously a correlation there,
Yes, yes.
but do you think there's like more room for sanctification in contentment, especially if it came by getting the thing that you'd wanted?
I would be shocked if anyone's sitting there going, no, I don't think there's room to be sanctified. Because I honestly think
Yeah,
this is
for
like
sure.
probably the pursuit of the Christian faith is
Yeah.
practicing contentment. Like
Yeah.
I wonder how much sin is bred out of not feeling content. And so
Mhm.
just looking for a pacifier anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, I was speaking to you and I spoke to Johanna about this last week about how we've spoken about this a lot on the podcast about how the Christian life is like death to self, which is
Yes.
not going to sell tickets, but here we are. But also, we've been talking a lot about being a living sacrifice and how, like, I can understand if people are listening to this that aren't Christians, they're probably like, skip that. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
sound good. Like, it's not appealing, but how we feel like we're very much in a season, but also it is a lifestyle. It's not just a stage, it's a lifestyle that you are just required to be a living sacrifice always. And I think it's just acutely prominent when you've got littles under like 4, because obviously they need you for absolutely everything. But that living sacrifice should be like our whole life is just like being poured out as a sacrifice unto the Lord. And so I agree with you that like we might not put it in those words. The Christian life is learning to be content, but there's so many other Christianese phrases that we use that point to contentment, satisfaction. Like
Yes. Yes.
even our hope being in the Lord, it's like that requires so much contentment. Just being like, that's enough. He's enough. Just give me Jesus.
It's such a big topic. We should do a series on it. But
Yeah.
I think like, oh, I just had a massive thought. Now it's too big for me to even untangle.
Okay. Have you followed your spreadsheet in at all? No.
No. Okay. Well, let's get into the biblical contentment definition, shall we?
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Let's do it.
as we said, it is biblical. So in Philippians 4, verse 11 to 13, Paul says, I have learned to be content I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances.
Mm.
And I thought this was great to point out here because Paul says he learnt it.
Mm,
He was learnt.
Love that.
I don't think contentment is natural. I think it's 1000% the flesh, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not formed. I think it's something to practice and be really mindful of.
And isn't Paul writing to the Philippian church when he is in prison?
Yeah.
Like he's literally has nothing. And he says, like, I've learned the secret to be content, whether I have little or whether I have much, I'm content. Like, how are you content? You're in prison. You have no things. You have no comforts. You're without your people, but you've learned to be content. That's crazy.
And I think it's good there that he says, like, well, you've just mentioned it, like learning to be content with little and with much, because either way, I think this problem's coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say before. Like when the fact that contentment is thread so clearly within the Christian experience, I think, again, I know I say this all the time, but I think it's tempting to think, no, like
Mhm.
practicing contentment is dying to self, and it is. But I don't think it means that you're worse off. I think we'll be set free when we
Yeah.
practice
Yeah.
contentment, because even if that means that we stop striving, we don't, you know, seek the money and all the things. Maybe circumstantially we're worse off or it doesn't look the same.
Mhm.
But our experience on this earth will be so much greater if we're not always just yearning for something that we don't have right now.
Yeah, for sure. And that is isn't that like the value or the wisdom in going without intentionally? Like even if you
And that's
have
why we should be
much,
fasting.
that's why we should fast. But even if you have access and resources and accessibility or whatever, like isn't some of the wisdom to just go, yeah, I could just buy it, but for my own contentment, for my own spiritual vitality, it's good for me not to do that. It's good for me to delay. It's all the things that we're trying to teach our kids,
Yes.
like
Yes.
delayed gratification. Isn't that good for us as well? To just be like, no, it's good to go without. And isn't that we're better off, surely, because if you are fasting or you are going without, surely you're constantly being reminded, like, here's my daily bread. Like, you're what I need to get through this day, you know?
Gosh, I was having a conversation. This is what I've been thinking about recently.
Okay.
Listeners, sorry, I'm a bit 20 minutes late. But we were talking about, well, the Epstein files, obviously. Should we do a whole episode on that?
I don't know if I'm ready,
Yeah, I don't know either.
you
But
know?
anyway, so we're talking about that and just how messed up Hollywood is and just all the satanic stuff. It's just
Mm.
absolutely disgusting. Anyways, and I was truly like immediately convicted about music and immediately convicted about Taylor Swift. And it's something that I know like, I've got to go and do a bit of research on it. But
Gosh.
I
I'm
know.
sorry, I
And I'm
just
like,
know that's a
that's
big deal for you. I'm sorry,
it's
like,
a big deal. Like
it's a big deal.
that is not my flesh
Yeah.
telling me that. 1000%.
Ugh.
But I was talking about how like it's so crazy to me how all these people like whether they were involved with at the island or in any of the grotesque acts that were happening, these people were fraternizing with someone they knew was a pedophile. You knew he was a pedophile and you just still did it. And like that's so crazy to me when people just like willingly fraternize with something that is so evil and disgusting.
Mhm.
And then I thought about, well, how often do I do that in my life
Mm,
where I know that this music is not
mm,
like, it's not, if things are light or dark, the Bible says we're dealing with principalities of light or darkness. It's not, it's light or dark. And if it's
sure.
not light, it's darkness. Like, that's
Yeah.
just what it is. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true.
Mm.
Why would I ever just happily create a partnership with this thing that I know is darkness? Like, that's crazy. Why
Wow.
would I
Yeah.
ever do that? And the Bible says, like, we're meant to be set apart. We're meant to look so different in
Mhm.
all of these things, but even in the music we listen to, like,
Mm.
that is meant to look really, really different in what we're willing to play in our households or
Yeah.
watch on our TVs or read or
Yeah. Wow.
all of that stuff. And I feel like even with contentment, like, I love what you just said about, well, just because we can have something, should we? Well, how are we practicing being set apart in how we consume anything in our
Mm.
lives?
Mhm.
Music or things or being able to access things, even if it's for our kids, it might be a new bike for our kids, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Are we
Well,
set apart in how we use our finance?
mm, that's good. That's good. I think we just end it there, to be honest. No, it's like truly I feel so convicted because I think we hear contentment and like I said at the start, I think of like a season of suffering or a season of longing, but and maybe I hear contentment and for our stage of life, I think of like infertility, probably financial instability for a lot of people that are trying to stay home with kids and so you're on one income or things like that. And I think of these really I guess big things. Contentment comes through all of these like small daily practices that are really so difficult to practice contentment in. And that's what when I was speaking to Johanna about being a living sacrifice, I was saying to her that I've been speaking to the Lord and I could be emotional about this, but I've been speaking to the Lord and being like, Lord, I need you to make me content. I need to wash the dishes unto you. Like,
Mm.
I need to cook like the millionth meal unto you because if I do it for my husband or for my kids to enjoy, I probably will hate my food, or whatever it is. Like, it's so futile. It feels meaningless. Whereas if you do everything unto the Lord, it's like oh, there's meaning and there's purpose found in this, not just because I'm providing for my family, which is also beautiful, but even that, it's like, isn't everything if it's just done unto the Lord, which is why when you forego things for the sake of finding contentment in the Lord, I just think surely God sees that and he honors that. The Holy Spirit, it says, like, if you seek wisdom, I'll give you wisdom. Surely he'll give you wisdom and the desire of our hearts to learn contentment, which is so difficult.
It's so difficult. And I love what you just said, like, surely he'll honor that, because my mind immediately goes to, yeah, by giving you something else. And you're like, no, he'll honor that by
Mhm.
giving you contentment.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think so often, and that's just the prosperity gospel. It's like, okay, well, if I do this with diligence and, I do the Christian thing, then he's gonna
Mhm.
he's gonna set me free from that, and he's gonna like bring me to better places and greener pastures. And it's like, that's not the point.
Please, please. Yeah, I agree.
And I wonder if underneath contentment, like if I think about when have I not been content, when I'm struggling with, or when I've seen it like when I've observed it in others, what is underneath it? And I think it's just a misunderstanding of who God is, to be
Mhm,
honest.
mhm, mhm,
Because when I've not been content, I've not trusted him. I've not remembered that he's trustworthy. Oh my gosh, my friend gave me such a good word. I have to share this as well.
please. Is this
I was
relevant or
talking
have you just remembered?
No, it is relevant. I was talking to her about, like, the finance side and whatever, just, like, we've been in a bit of a hustle phase,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I'm a little anting my way around the world, but it's been tough, and I feel like I've been so refined in so many things, but what
mhm,
she said, she's like, and I said to her, I was like, I'm just praying heaps, like, I don't know why I ever think about this without praying about it, like, he's the
mhm,
ultimate provider, da, 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 and she was like, something that, we heard at church the other day that's kind of changed how I view this is, she's like, God is not just a good father, but he's a responsible father. He's
mhm.
responsible. He's responsible for you to look towards, And I was like, oh, that is so good, because I know a
Yes.
lot of good dads who aren't responsible dads. Like, that's like
And
different. Do you know what
burn.
I mean?
Yeah,
Burn. Like, he's a
burn.
responsible father. He wouldn't put me in this situation without
Mm,
being responsible and without giving me resources or options and all those things. And I'm not trying to say that he's gonna lavish gifts on me, that's not what I mean, but, that was character
mm.
trait of God's that I was completely forgetting, that he's
Yeah, yeah.
responsible and he's good in this, and if we know that about him and we go, "Oh, I'm not feeling content," if you go back to who God is and whose feet you're at,
Mm.
surely that starts to shift a bit of how content you feel.
Yeah, and surely it comes down to knowing so yeah, like knowing who God is, but then knowing what God has asked of you. Because I think sometimes what can happen in the West, but also in like some denominations, I won't name them, but what can happen is that we forget our purpose. And I think that we think, and okay, there's caveats everywhere here. I think that we sometimes think that the purpose for us is all those scriptures that sound really lovely that we all put on cups and t-shirts, like I have great plans to prosper you, all those wonderful, beautiful things, which are true in and of themselves. But when you think of like, what did God design us to do? Yes, he's got tasks prepared in advance for us to partake in. But our main purpose in this life is to glorify the Lord. It's to be obedient, honor him, glorify him in all that you do. It's basically like live your life unto the Lord. And
Mm.
that is our sole purpose. Now, in that purpose, as you do that, God gives us things to do, like disciple children, or for Johanna, like reach the world through scripture music or whatever it is. There's so many things that we all have these individual tasks, but I think sometimes we think more of ourselves than what we ought to. Of course, me as well. You're laughing because it's me, but we think more of ourselves than what we ought to, which I think can breed a lack of contentment unless it's under the banner of like, but even this thing, even this house, even this job, even this podcast is meaningless unless it's unto the Lord. Do you agree?
And that's the thing, it's like, if we can practice this is like, I feel like this is a, like, reverse Uno card for the devil, because what is he gonna get us with if we're practicing contentment
Mm,
and honoring God with our lives and living as a sacrifice to him?
mhm.
I think so much of what he puts in front of us as a stumbling block is rooted in this, you know?
Us, for sure. For the world that we're in, the West, for sure. Yeah.
If life is somewhat easy, well, actually, the thing is, there is things that are going to come. There's suffering is going to come. That is
Yeah.
what the Bible promises. It's not if, it's when. And if we, like I said before, if we have practiced contentment with little, like Paul, we're going to be able to practice it with much, or when much is taken away.
Or will you give much? Like it's crazy to me that when Jesus encountered the rich young ruler, like what he asked him was, because he was like, Lord, what do I have to do? And Jesus was like, hey, go sell all your possessions and give it to the poor. Follow me. And it was like, what? I don't think Jesus is asking us to do that, but I think he is asking like, hey, but will you give me everything? Which that feels so crazy to us because we just don't live in that time and Jesus doesn't ask that much of us. But like, will you like leave everything? Will you carry everything with an open hand because you trust so much in who he is and what he has for you that you don't have to hold so tight, hold so fast? And will you forego? Will you even forego things that you desire, that you want, that you know are going to be like a temptation for discontentment or make things difficult? Will you forego opportunities, promotions, da da da? Like I've had some people in our world that have declined huge promotions because they just know it's just going to take them away from the family more, which feels pretty crazy to me. Like,
I'm like, I would take that job and hop.
yeah, but can you imagine, like, let's say Ruan got a job tomorrow, amazing job. I mean, it's hard because you guys have come out of the little ant season, but it's just crazy to me that some people do say no. You know, even there was another person that their kid got like an opportunity to do traveling sport that like, yeah, you travel across America to play sport, like amazing, amazing. And the family was like, no, because all it's going to do is erode our family unit doing that. Even though it's like such a good opportunity for this kid, they're just like, no, can't do it. Like, will you forego opportunity, money, whatever, when God tells you like, hey, this is actually going to be potentially not good for you, which it means you have to be abiding with the Lord to work out what he's saying.
Do you know what's so crazy about this is that I think it would be easier for Christians to stand in a line and there's someone with a gun and they're like, are you a Christian? Yes or no? Yes, you're dead. I think it would be easier to say yes in that moment than it
Yeah.
would be for Christians to say, yes, Lord, I'll do what you want in this stuff.
Right.
I think it's easier to like lose your life in an instant than to regularly say no to the things of this world. Genuinely, I do. For me, for honest, and I'm saying that for me. Like,
Well, I guess it's so black and white. Like it's like so
Yeah.
black and white to be like, am I going to deny Jesus at gunpoint? It's like I'm on my way to eternity either way. Like, where do I want to go? You know, it's like it's
So
so
true.
it's so clear, it's so obvious. Where it's like, whereas those other things is like it's ambiguous. You can really talk your way into either one. Like, and
Yes, but I think it's the same. It's the same thing.
yeah,
That's what I'm trying to
100%.
say.
I think it's the same thing, but it's so easy to justify yourself into either one. And I think the same person in the same situation maybe have different responses, and that's okay because what their flesh is or what their idol is looks different. Does that make sense?
100%. Exact. No, I totally agree because,
Yeah.
and gosh, we were talking about a lot of things, but like the eye that God is commanding you to pluck out is different for everyone. Like right now, I think the eye for me is potentially Taylor Swift music.
That's a big one. I'm sorry,
That's a
gosh.
massive one.
Yeah, yeah.
That might not be it for you, but I think when I think about that and I'm like, oh gosh, no, like I just love her music so much. Like it brings me so much joy. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Who am I serving? Like if she is practicing witchcraft in her music videos, that should gravely concern me as a believer. And if I'm just like, oh no, but it brings me joy again, why don't I think that God can give me that? What Taylor Swift is going to give it to me more than what God is.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and there may be there's lots of other music that you can listen to. It's not like it's like, oh, no music for you ever. You have to only listen to hymns. Like there's lots of other music that might be fine for you to listen to.
Oh, great. I've put this on the podcast now. I have to follow through.
Convicted. You're editing it, you can edit it out. But I've even thought about that with like so many of the movies and music today, it's all about like, oh gosh, like even if it's not witchcrafty, like even if Taylor Swift, and granted, I have no idea what I'm talking about because I don't listen to her, but even if a lot of her music is just like very secular in the sense that it's very much about like, let's just say like one night stands, like pursuit of self, blah, blah, like even that might be enough to go, well, is
Yeah.
this like a good stewardship of my mind? Which,
I mean, this is what we were talking about the other day. We were having a chat about music. Like, so music is such a spiritual thing. Like, I was listening to this TikTok the other day, and it was basically about how if you want to know what a culture was like, you just look at the music that they were playing.
yes,
Like,
yes, I've
did you
seen
see
that.
that too?
Yeah,
It was really interesting.
I saw that when Neelis and I looked into this. Is a completely, we need to do an episode on the occult, I think. But when Neelis and I were looking,
Cult.
the occult, like yoga, like new age mysticism,
Oh,
whatever.
right,
Like,
right, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
so when Neelis and I were looking into like yoga and da da da, and so we did a lot of this deep dive into like music, cultural music, and what it points to, and it's scary.
It's crazy. And like, I think it's crazy for us. Like, we are living in a crazy time in what is happening
Yeah,
in music.
for sure.
Like, truly. And I think if you're not taking that like, there is secular people posting videos on TikTok being like, "Hey guys, the music industry is pretty whack. Like, don't know if we should be listening to Billie Eilish and to,
Mm.
Taylor Swift. It's pretty hectic." And these aren't Christians.
Yeah,
But
and
like,
then people have like a go. They're like, "Oh, the halftime show was just so inappropriate." It's like, guys, this has been the last like 20 Super Bowls have content
yeah.
about like being attracted to underage kids. Like, why are we shocked?
Yeah, but also, why are secular people shocked and Christians aren't?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it's so embarrassing, Like, come on,
Mm.
guys. Again, are we set apart? No.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. Well, okay, I do want to talk about this. This is kind of what I was talking about at the start. What contentment is not.
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay, you do have it here. What contentment is not. So clarify this early so that listeners do not disengage.
All right.
We did
Sorry,
not
listeners.
clarify early. Sorry. But contentment is not, this is what I need. This is what I need because you and I are, I want to say like hustling girlies. We like a hustle. We like a
Oh
task.
gosh.
We like an
Yes.
activity. Thank you, babe.
Yes.
Now, let's just bought
Oh,
me a
what did he
cup of
bring you?
tea. Is he the
Oh,
best? He's
bless
the
him.
best. But contentment is not a lack of ambition. Louder for the people in the back. It's not a
Yes.
lack of ambition. Like, I think that we can be content and still be ambitious people. And I think you can even be ambitious in what the Lord has given you. Like,
Yes.
Johanna and I were talking about this last week. Like, can I be ambitious to like facilitate like an amazing family activity for my family? Like, ambition
Mm.
is good. We don't want to shame ambition.
And also, let us just think about the Proverbs 31 woman. She was a business girly
Please, she's
in
by
the
the
field.
field.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a good example of how ambitious actually we ought to be. Not
Mm-hmm.
that we can be, but I think we ought to be that way.
Yeah, contentment is not laziness. And I don't think it's even submission in the sense of how our world defines submission. I don't think it's laziness or submission or just relaxing. Like, I just think that it's like, no, get to work. Like, I feel like it's also
Yeah.
scriptural to be like, off you go, like, get to work, do things, like,
Do something.
do something. Apathy. These are the words I've been looking for this whole podcast.
Yeah.
Apathy.
Gosh, should have just stuck with the run sheet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It is not a lack of desire.
Oh, look at that, what I've just highlighted.
Okay, I'm coming to it. And it is not passivity in suffering. Yes.
Oh.
Amen. I just mean for me as well. There's a balance of like, because I don't think you should try to like pursue control. That like if you're suffering, it's like you're gonna strong arm it and just like grin and bear it and like change your circumstances. It's like no, but also
Yeah.
passivity of just like don't just lie down and let the world kick you. Like that
Yeah,
feels
at least have some thoughts. Like, that's
put on
what
a
I mean.
helmet.
Like, yeah, at least just like have a bit of reflection. I don't know,
Are you
just make
okay?
a plan. Make a plan. Like, have a little, just
Mm.
do your Googles, just something.
I think for you, you are a practical girly, type A practical girly,
Yes.
and I think that you have always executed a lot of wisdom in just like foreshadowing. Like you do a very good job of just like, this thing has happened. Okay. It's a little stressful. What can I put in place so that in 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, this thing is a little smoother? That's what you're very good at.
Okay.
So
Maybe I'm
I think when
maybe I'm
people
a little bit too much.
are lying down to be kicked, you're like, oh gosh.
Sometimes it might be a control idol, we might think. But anyways, that is
Yeah.
not today's segment.
Okay.
Okay,
What did you
so
highlight here?
what I highlighted was the issue is not having things, it's needing them to be whole.
Oh.
I think it does come down to an identity piece, doesn't it? Actually, I remember a Shane Willard quote. He said, if you're not enough without it, then you'll never be enough with it.
Email him while we're here. Tell him we've got Patricia,
Yeah.
and that's how we rope him
Yes,
in.
good, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I like that. Yeah. If you're
It's
not,
true, isn't it?
well, I think that that's also. Do you think there's also a danger in? I don't think a lot of us, or I think it would be easy for someone to listen to this and to go, well, I don't need it to be whole. Like, I don't need it to be whole. I just want it. Like, it's just a da-da-da. I don't need it to be whole. And I think that's also the trap is that, like, oh, you may
Yes.
not
Yeah,
think you
true.
need it to be whole, but you also don't want to go without it. Can you go without it? Like,
Oh, you just
no,
froze. Oh, no, you're back, you're back.
my back. It may not be because I think that that would be so obvious to be like,
Yeah, true.
unless it's for big ticket items that, yeah, you're walking through long suffering and something's been taken away or something's not been given to you. I think that these things are pointing less to like materialistic things and more to like what you hope for your life.
Yeah, true. True, true, true.
A scary health diagnosis or a kid getting a diagnosis that's super challenging or,
Gosh.
like waiting for a positive pregnancy test or I don't know. There's so many like big sufferings that people go through. And that would be, yeah, just so difficult.
So I think we should end off. We're about to finish this episode, so it's been a bit depressing. But
We
let's
always end on a big dip.
segment 3, how to practice contentment. This is what we all need.
Mhm.
I think a big part of contentment is gratitude for
Mm.
what God has done. And I don't mean cute journaling or, the tokenistic. What's one thing you're grateful for?
Although
1
psychology will
Thessalonians.
tell you that it's also good. I mean, if you're gonna start
It does
somewhere.
help. Honestly,
Yeah,
it does
start
help.
somewhere.
1 Thessalonians 5, verse 16 to 18 says, give thanks in all circumstances. And I think that is true, that even in the suffering, in a season where you could argue that it's reasonable to not sorry, I've got sunscreen in my eye.
It's all right, yeah, I see that you are struggling. This is a video recording, I hope you know that.
Sorry, everyone. Um, even in the times that you could, you know, very much it's reasonable to not be content.
Mm.
I think you can always find 3 things to be grateful for.
Yeah, for sure.
Naming what is enough today and thanking God specifically for ordinary things.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I find that so helpful with how you start the day. Like, starting the day with, like, just cultivating a mindset that is aware that, like, he is our daily bread, he is enough, and also he is steadfast, like, he's faithful. So, will he be faithful in this day? Yes. Like, you already know he's gonna be faithful. So, if you're already just looking for how he's faithful, it's a better day already because your just
100%.
mindset is a little bit shifted. Yeah, it's good. Like, I think scripturally, there's so many, like, of the prophets and in the New Testament, we read so many of those books that talk about exactly what Alison talked about on the podcast. Like, hope and suffering can coexist. Like, you can be content in suffering, in hardship. Like, Paul is content in
Yes.
prison. Like, Jesus is betrayed and we know he is content to submit himself to the Father's will. And so we know that contentment isn't an absence of longing, but it is an accurate longing of, I think, an accurate longing of God, but also an accurate longing of what we know about eternity. And I think I think for me, like, I can sometimes be a bit freaked out by eternity, to be honest.
Yeah,
Actually,
me
this
too.
is just this is too much of a rabbit hole to go down. But I think, like, yes, it's an accurate reflection, it's an accurate anchoring to shift our position to longing for God. But I think it is also an opportunity to shift our focus on longing for what we know to be true about eternity. Like, in eternity where we will have all things, we will be all content because we're with Jesus. We are made completely one. It's how things are intended to be. So that is why, like, going without in this world, whether you choose to go without or you go without because life brings hardship, there is this element of, like, longing for eternity because that's when your body will be made whole. That's when you'll be with the family of God and your family will be made whole. Like, all these things, it's just like, oh gosh, like, it's
Yes.
now and not yet. And that not yet is so important because it shifts our gaze away from what we're in now to what's to come.
Yes. 100%. Sorry, guys, if you can hear my baby, she's rolling around on the ground. No, it's true. I think that the now and not yet paradox is something we should probably do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really helpful. It doesn't sound nice, but it's really, really helpful to
And it's
just,
hard to remember.
it's hard to remember. And I think like we said, eternity kind of freaks us out. But when you rephrase it like this, it's like, oh no, that sounds pretty good.
I think it'll be quite nice when being eternity. Actually, speaking of rehearsing eternity, is that what you just did? Number 3.
No, I didn't know that was there.
Okay.
There you
A
go.
lot of discontentment comes from expecting earth to feel like heaven. Lol, lazy little wise owl.
Ploys.
Colossians 3 verse 2 says, set your minds on things above. Christian contentment is deeply, gosh, what the hell is that?
Eschatological.
What does that mean?
Eschatology is like, gosh, what's the definition of it? Eschatology. Edit this out,
Could have
mate.
just said you didn't know.
No, eschatology is like the theology of, of death, judgment. I thought it was like the theology of eternity, but eschatology. What happens when we die?
Do we have to make a crazy word for everything? Anyway, we live aware that this world is not ultimate. Our reward is not immediate. I'll say it again. Our reward is not immediate, and fulfillment is going to happen in the future.
Boom. Which is what the prophets didn't know. Like, sorry, is this getting too preachy? Whatever. But this is what the prophets didn't know. Like, it's
So
crazy to me. Like, you read those Old Testament books, it's like they didn't know. I mean, they were walking with the Lord, so they had some sort of an understanding, but they didn't know that Jesus was going to come. Like, they didn't know what was to come, and yet they had this hope of a future. Like, we know this. We know this.
True.
Like, when we throw shade at them for not being content in the desert, it's like, we're not content right now. We know the future. Like, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. Yeah, we literally have the Holy Spirit living in us.
Yeah.
To help us.
Yeah, the poor Israelites, like, they had we would have no chance if we were an Israelite.
Yeah. Paul was beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, and he still said, I have learned contentment.
Help us learn, Lord. Help us learn. This is good.
So I guess I'll end this little segment with, where are you resisting contentment right now? And what would it look like to trust God there instead?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go sit quietly in my room for a bit.
Pray and repent.
It's funny because I just don't know anyone that would listen to this and just go, yeah,
not a problem.
Yeah, like I know we all have things, and I bet you, like, we're all thinking of a different area or like a slightly different flavor of a lack of contentment.
For sure.
You know, whether it's with, finances or family planning or holidays or stuff, or even a lack of contentment with your spouse. Like, a lot of us have been married for a while now. Is there a lack of contentment in the way that your spouse, I don't know, is, or even like a lack of contentment with your own personality, the giftings that God has given you? Like,
your body, how you look.
For sure.
Yeah.
The kids that you've got, like, with the problems that they've got, like, is there a contentment there? Oh gosh, yeah, okay, well, not good. Sorry guys, this has been brutal. Maybe people are listening and they're like, what are you on about? This isn't that difficult.
This isn't a problem. Yeah, it's not that hard. Oh gosh, we've just outed ourselves. But anyways, I hope you enjoy this episode, because I certainly feel convicted, but I do feel a bit better. Like, honestly, even though this has been a struggle of mine, I feel hope in that there is a better way.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel hope yet, but I do feel solidarity. And I think that's what I need. Just to be like, Salomi's struggling too. Good. Especially, it is interesting that you and I can both experience a lack of contentment, and we are in vastly different seasons of life.
1000%.
Like, in many ways, like family planning, career, finances, like, we are in very different phases. So it's, I sometimes have to practice contentment with Salomi, when I send her a WhatsApp asking her to do something for the podcast and she doesn't. And I have to think, be content with her, be content.
You know what? And I sometimes don't feel content with Elize not communicating to me properly and then bringing it up on the podcast that she's mad at me. I'm not content with that.
So true. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been a hoot. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know that we're not alone. I think we also need that, okay? If I need the solidarity, please let us know we're not alone. It's been such a treat hanging out with you. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a sister or a friend, maybe a small group, especially a women's small group. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.